This is day 1712 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today we're doing Choshen Mishpat, Siman Shin Samach Tes, Siv Ches Design. Ches Klau Go to Zesh Omer Chazal Stam Moksin Gazanu. The general great principle that Chazal, that which Chazal say that by default the tax collector is a robber. Zel Moksanim only male names is about tax collectors who appointed themselves. Which is found in distant deserts. Where the beg are groups of bandits. So see mechas who take taxes, customs, whatever you want to call them, from the caravans which travel in the area. That exists in times of Gemara. But a tax collector who is appointed by the officials of the king, you're not allowed to steal from him any taxes. The law of the kingdom is law. Tax custom Rambam Parakeh. The Rambam writes, if the tax collectors took your garment and gave you back another one, the garment you got back is yours. Because it's like a sale. And the assumption is that the original owner gave out Pope. And you don't know this one was robbed for sure anyway. If he was a person of great accomplishment and he's stringent on himself, gives it back to the first owner. But when the tax collector is like a bandit, where the tax collector is a goy, or one who is self-appointed, or a tax collector who is had been appointed but has no limitations. Okay, it takes whatever he wants. But a tax collector who is appointed by the king, and the king direct him to take a set amount. And he himself, the non-Jewish tax collector appointed by the king, appointed a Jewish tax collector to collect it for the king. And it's known that this person is trustworthy. Doesn't add anything to what the king decreed. The law of land is the law. Somebody who does not pay this tax by somehow trying to evade it. Violates, do not rob. Because he robs the portion of the king. Whether it's a king of the Jews or king of the non-Jews. So to the person who acquired the right to collect the taxes from the king, you have to pay him completely. Somebody who hides the tax from the king, he's stealing from the person who has got the kind of concession to collect the taxes. But if the person who acquired the concession to collect the taxes is a person who compels people to pay even though they're not required to, and a robber, and mutter, you're allowed to evade the taxes. Also, because then it's like refraining from paying back a debt which you owe. The shari makom which is permissible in a place where there's no chilul Hashem. Akal Shono. End quote from the Rambam. The Rabbi Yosef quotes this entire Rambam, which we had since the beginning of the Sif here from in Sivav. That which he says talks about a tax collector where there's an assumption the original owner gave a pope, and by a non-Jewish tax collector, they asked from that which he wrote in Siman Shin Samaches, basically said, if you saved an object which was taken by a non-Jewish collector, Jewish tax collector from a Jew, you have to give it back because the owner hasn't given it a pope. It's those who answer the dafka it's specifically where the tax collector has given over the garment to another person, then the original person gives a pope. Since he sees it's already been sold. That's smart. This is difficult to say. In came, if that's the case, if the person from whom it has been robbed does not know about this transaction, so it can't belong to the person to whom it was exchanged. Why the Shas place can mention this? Taz's question. Yes, those who say the Kam Meir of Meichas Yisrael. That here it's talking about a Jewish tax collector. It's not going on that which it said previously. El al ikadin the moksin. It's going on the primary halacha of tax collector. Call them not on the previous case of where a non-Jewish tax collector took your garment. But this is difficult to say. This is the Taz suggestion. To me it seems, says Arukh HaShulchan, you know for sure it's been stolen. That's the language of a matzil. You're saving it. Saving it from what? Saving it from theft. But you don't know for sure it's stolen. So you just know tax collector took your garment. Gives you another garment. Since it's like a sale, but you don't know for sure was stolen. We can assume leniently, even if it was stolen, we say that the owner gave up hope. They were not stringent in a case of doubt, in a place where there's a loss, so that he should go to the extent of losing his garment. But to purchase a garment from the tax collector is forbidden. So you know for sure it was stolen. Also, people say this also even going to suffer loss. What you did the Rambam's like the Rambam was meticulous in his writing. Meticulous in implying. That which Rama wrote, that if it's known that the owner is not given hope, we have to give back the owner for free. There's no takonos shokir. This is also true as long as you know that it's stolen. By default, we say there was no Yish K'mosh Kosav no Sham. El Shem Nation Vorsh B'Lashon Rambam. Shulchan has Kosher Yashu Bailim. The Rambam is talking about a case where there's an assumption that the owner did give up hope. Somebody if he says if it's known they didn't give up hope, so you have to give it up give it back for free. The Shinur is just below Yush. Change of jurisdiction without Yush is nothing. But of course, if you saying if you don't know either way, you still have to give it back. Your Kvanis bar, it's already been clarified. The Mahmaxi Meches Melech also Mimena Meches. If somebody is holding the right to collecting taxes from the king, you're now allowed to try and evade, to hide the taxes from him. We takes a set amount from each and every individual. Even the king directed that the Jews have to pay more than non-Jews. Nevertheless, it's called a specific amount. Since all the people of this nationality are giving the same. Some say, some say that even if it's known that the Jew is taking more than was allocated to him as a tax collector, nevertheless, that which he was allowed or authorized to take, you can't evade. That goes because it's like robbing from a robber, which is also. Like people say, time to time. If a person who steals from a thief is going to taste of the prohibition of theft. So to a king who levied a tax on people of the city, while called ish on each and every person, a set amount for the year, or he decreed that anybody who violates this matter, all of his property taken to the house of the king, so to taxes on real estate. Because and he decreed that all the owners of fields in this city, or this village, do such a much. Such and such amount. He can also make a decree that anybody who's found in the field at the time of working the grain, whether he is the owner of the field or not, he's going to take from him the tax of this field. He has these rights. He's authorized to do these things. But somebody who collects all these things is considered to be a kosher person. But actually, because as long as he does not add on or deviate from the authorization of the king. So the king directed his servants to cut down the trees of a homeowner and to make for them a bridge. You're allowed to pass over the bridge. Even if he commanded to cut for each and every person a specific amount of trees. And his slaves went and cut down the trees all exclusively from one person's forest. Mutter, it's permissible. Because the slave of a king is like the king, meaning here, whoever his workers are. They don't have to, interesting enough, they're not responsible to go to collect from this one log of another log. That's Baal Bais' problem. Also a king who destroyed houses. So Derech made a road. Anything similar. Whatever he did. The law of the kingdom is law. Is talking about specifically a set king. In other words, an authorized king. His coinage is current in the country. And the people of the country agreed to his rule. At which point the people of the country become as if they are his slaves, and he becomes as if he is his master. Not like those brigands, which were in ancient time, who gathered a group of bandits, and they called upon themselves the name of an official in the king. So Bowser was just a violent guy. It's interesting that obviously the Arukh HaShulchan is not bound to get into the discussion of what Din Machuz Adina is, but there's the famous Dvar Havram, who's not contemporary of Arukh HaShulchan, slightly later, so some years later, but certainly was alive at the same time. But there's a famous hymn of Din Machuz Adina, where Din Machuz Adina is, in fact, a king kibush. It's the acquisition that the kingdom has over its inhabitants, or it is a special halach of srara, authority, as opposed to ownership. And there are many nafkaminas. Also a king who got angry at one of his slaves, one of his servants from the people of the country, and seized his land or his yard. It's not theft. You're allowed to benefit from it. Somebody person from the king, belongs to him. And the original owner cannot extract it from his hands. This is from the powers of the kingdom. Of the king, like Shmuel Navi set out in his statement what kings are going to do when they take effect among the Jewish people, which is the paradigm for all Dina Machuz Adina. But if an official took a field or a yard of one of the people of the country not according to the laws, which the king has enacted, somebody who purchases that field or that yard, the original owner can extract it from their hands. General principle is any law which is legislative for all, it is the law of the land. And any violent person who takes on this person exclusively, not according to the general laws. He takes it with violence, it's not the law. When there is a specific law for a specific type of craftsman, guild laws, to a specific craft. I am Mashkas Rabbeinu Ramah. The Ramah writes about this, and also then the Gra. Yudav v'chein muni amelech v'shotov, so too the officials appointed by the king, v'shotov, and his police, shemochim asados, who sell the fields, v'mas hakotzav al asados, for the tax which is in arrears on these fields, shabayim lo paro, which the owners have not paid, mikor the mechel sells without sale. Avamasa goes, but the poll tax, I'll call each and every individual, ain't no gava elmi adam atzmo. They can only collect it from the person himself, not from his property. Because that is the directive of the king. So therefore, if a policeman sold a field on account of the poll tax, meaning the head tax, ain't no memkar. It's not a sale. Unless the king had made such a decree. Tesva Melch goes to Komishli Tena Masha, so that the Mishi Yisratz take me mas. A king who made a decree that anybody who defaults on his taxes on his field, the field should then go to whoever pays the taxes. Uba Baruch, and the owner of the field has fled. Uba Mas, and somebody else came and paid the tax. Mimana from the field. Ate its fruit. Ain't a gezel. It's not considered to be robbery. Elocha Peros, but rather he eats the fruit, and he pays the tax to the king until the owner comes back and they restore it to his hands. I guess, and the king restores it to his hands, or the government restores it to his hands. Because the law of the land is law. Also, king decrees shall go that anybody doesn't pay the poll tax, but somebody else gives in instead. He's allowed to subjugate that person. He's allowed to subjugate him, like is the law of the king. But he can't work him like a literal slave. A close over general principle is whether it's taxes or customs, the king can make decree as he pleases. And every person is required to fulfill everything which the king decrees by taxes and by customs. Again, this is going to the assumption that that's the principle. The land, it says Yochel can do what he pleases. Of course, in democracies, republics, would have to go either with the Svara idea of the Dvar Avram or with an understanding that somehow the democracies and republics also function that way. It's Rav Kook and others, and anticipating the state of Israel, wrote extensively about these topics. It's interesting that the famous Ran about Dina Machuz Dina does not applying to Melech Yisrael. I don't believe appears actually in the poskim, even though the contemporary poskim will often take it into account. But I don't think it appears in classic poskim. So the Arukh HaShulchan does not bring it down, perhaps because it wasn't the Maisa back then. Tesvav Yisrael a Jew who was liable to a non-Jew, and the non-Jew sold that document, that obligation to another Jew. Even though he's coming on account of the non-Jew, nevertheless, the Jewish court has to, the pasuk has to rule that the Jew has to pay this new Jew who bought the contract whatever he would have to pay according to secular law. Since the Jew comes on account of this non-Jew, he's like the non-Jew, is because anything he can acquire according to their laws. Yudzayin, Kosa Rabbein Ramah, the Ramah writes, somebody who marries a woman in a place where they follow non-Jewish laws. If Mesa Ish and his wife dies, they can't. The father of the deceased wife or her other heirs cannot say who that anybody marries a woman marries her according to the custom of the place, and therefore we're going to judge this matter according to the laws of non-Jews. She may by law, which would include that if she dies, her husband does not inherit her, etc. That's not a legitimate claim. You have to go according to the Torah law. But to uproot the laws of the holy and pure Torah. All the kings in our day and age, sounds like a little bit of censorship, but who knows? Their desire and their will is that Am Yisrael should go according to the laws of our Torah. Okay, leaves a lot of room for relative issues and questions, but that's it for today.